all week, but
I know.
To get them up. Good morning. We are still morning, aren't we? That's the first and most important thing. Welcome to yet another showcase here at Kerfuffle with a wonderful Joe Tatum wearing a resplendent pink hat. I want to know, have you got the deluxe model? Why is yours more pink than mine? That's
because it's probably not been washed yet. I'm hoping yours have been in the wash the amount of times that you wear them.
Yeah.
No?
Okay, and then what will be a real surprise to people is Matt Nicol again. So, hello, Matt. I had a word with the team. I said, there are other estate agents. No. I was a bit worried. It was like a takeover of the show, and suddenly I'm going to find myself just edged out.
Well, I hope Mincy's all right with this, but it's
no, he's dead to me. He did send me this though, so you are. So, never has the phrase "having a ride with Whaley" looked more disturbing.
That's not me because I can't tan. I'd go red. I wouldn't have that tan anyway, so it can't be me.
Well, we're both in the same place there. Yeah, the sun is not our friend. Okay, great.
You need to fall in love with a bottle.
Yeah, I was making this point. I've been out in London this week, and hand gel does. If you've run out of tequila, it's not bad at 70%. It's just important to get the right ones. Right. Anyway, we're going to have a lovely, loose conversation with Joe and Matt here today, talking about how Moneypenny have supported agents during the COVID-19, and of course continue to do that. And you've got some quite exciting stuff. You're going to be talking about how you've helped agents and continue to help agents there. So I guess just if we can just kick off just to start off with, Joe, how did the lockdown impact Moneypenny? From obviously, as I assume everyone, it was a bit brutal, but given the nature of what you do for people there, I'm guessing you saw a spike compared to many other businesses, didn't you?
Yeah, we definitely did. And, for those that know of Moneypenny, you'll know that we're a large team, over 700 of us that are based in our amazing office. So we're all usually working under one roof. So like many others, we had to move really fast to transition to home working, which was completely alien to the majority of Moneypennies. So we were quick to react to it early on, and we started to prep for lockdown scenario probably when the first cases were being reported. So as a team, our IT and ops team did an amazing job in getting the best part of 700 of us working from home, which, and we've been doing that since.
I mean, that's not just like with a service like yours. That's not just giving somebody a laptop, is it?
No, it isn't. Two departments I would definitely glad of not being involved in was IT and operations at that time, but hats off to them. They did an absolutely amazing job. So I think the fact that we were able to do that though, Simon, we invested in technology early on, such as Twilio that supports our call answering service. We also utilize MS Teams, Microsoft is MS Teams, isn't it? The other one, Zoom and Workplace. We also have our intranet as well. So those are things that we would already been utilizing. So I think it put us in a really good position before, the most people actually. So it made it quite easy for us to then transition over.
I think it's fair to say most people obviously know you as a people business by definition. I'm sure Matt will back it up, but everyone talks about the jealousy they have when sometimes when they talk about their own staff compared to the way your guys answer those phones, just seemingly whatever you're putting in their tea or coffee, so quickly, it's really good. But actually, one lesser known thing that I think actually is so important to understand about Moneypenny is that heavy investment in tech that you make yourselves, that your tech department is truly something to be admired. Maybe people don't realize that because actually it is the personable face that they come across. You invest so much, don't you, into making those two work hand in glove together that it does make it look seamless.
It does. And that's what we're all about. We're all about the extraordinary people that we have answering calls, answering chats, you know, the sales team, the support teams. But inevitably, it works hand in hand with the great technology. So we're very fortunate to be able to develop lots of products that we bring to market internally as well. So that's from understanding our clients from all different sectors, not just from the property sector. You know, we work with over 13,000 businesses and they come from all areas. But that's what we do. We listen to them and we take on board, and then we can go away and develop, but using technology. Sorry, my kitten's just going ballistic at the side of me. I'm so sorry. Caesar, yeah. So, yeah, you're right. It is about the people, but it's also about the technology that runs alongside it.
If I know anything about cats, that won't be the end of it. It's going to be doing all that sort of routine. Oh,
Pulled out the network cable.
well, that was pretty. Yeah, that's a very jealous cat there, isn't it? In terms of, it's gone straight for the Ethernet. Well, I suppose it was inevitably going to happen, wasn't it, Matt? Given that I'm spending more time with you than my the missus at the moment, we will be left together. Here she is. Brilliant.
That could well have been the cat.
It was perfect timing.
Oh, grief. I know. I'm so sorry. What do they say? Never work with children and animals. Lesson one, animals.
They are jealous lovers, kittens. Okay.
Oh my gosh. So sorry.
Absolutely. And so Matt, I know we're talking about, but were you using the Moneypenny phone service as well previously?
Yeah, so we've been using Moneypenny for our call overflows and also our live chat probably now for, I'd say, getting on for 3 years, 2 to 3 years, and it's been a brilliant resource for us. We recognised obviously during the period where we were all kind of forced into a lockdown to work from home that we, similar to Moneypenny, needed to get our tech to a certain point because there was still a lot of phone calls coming in whilst the offices weren't open, and we found that kind of the synergy between us and Moneypenny was great because when we couldn't get to that answer, we couldn't get that phone quick enough because, you know, we had a few technical issues. Yeah. People were seeing a normal level of service. And as Joe no doubt will talk about later on, that the kind of the training that their staff go through, the quality that they do deal with those calls, it feels like they were talking to a Nickel & Co member of staff anyway. So, yeah, we've been with them for 2 or 3 years, and it's been nice to be on the journey with them with things that they've now started to bring in as well, and actually be able to give a bit of an input in terms of how we've needed them to help us out with other items, and they've really listened and they've worked very hard to get it rolled into quickly.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, look, we, again, it was no one wanted this. Very few were able to predict it as well. But I'm guessing as you went into this, you couldn't have thought of a better partner, really, could you, to be able to cope for that? Because otherwise you would have been scratching around. Well, how do we make sure the calls are being answered? So really being able to very quickly switch across to them as a resource. Because I'm guessing, I mean, we'll come back. In fact, we'll come to it now. How did the call numbers change, though? Because what I was just about to say is you must have seen a big explosion in that. And although I say, it's fantastic, you've got all these resources of 700 people, you will have been working your business model on a certain amount of calls and everything else, and that must have just skyrocketed. So how did you cope with that? What happened to those call numbers?
Well, we did actually see a steep decline in volumes. I think it was around about the 9th of March. That decline then continued until about the 6th of April, and then it plateaued. And then again around about the 11th of May, I think it was, when the market reopened in England, we saw volumes then really zoom up again. So there was a massive peak in those, and they've continued to increase ever since. Another interesting thing of going back into calls, we've also seen trends around call duration. Okay. So at the beginning of lockdown, we saw some of the longest calls that we've ever had in property. And I think that all comes down to, people wanted that reassurance, they wanted clarity. And we all know, as it's human nature, that you want to reach out to someone for support. And in a pandemic, that was more evident than ever, especially, in the property world where, buyers wanted to know what was happening, So sales progression calls were
So
there were definitely some peaks in those.
Just being there then, really, in the way that we were talking about being there for our friends, family and everything, but also in a business sense there, that was, and it sounds obvious now we say it, doesn't it? But it really was, because so many, Matt will know better than anyone, and I'm sure in his competitor landscape out there, there were some that seemingly closed the doors and almost just stopped and gave up, didn't they there? So, you know, that would have, I mean, clearly if you're selling or more, you know, I suppose letting with them as well, that would have set up the alarm bells going. So, you know, you would have been quite, you know, on the phone. And I think, if I'm reading into it, of course, yeah, I would have imagined that the calls spiked straight away, but actually we did hit a brick wall, didn't we? And no one was doing anything for at least a couple of weeks before it started picking up again.
Yeah. So chat volumes have remained, so like going on to live chat, their volumes have remained pretty much consistent throughout it all. However, property chats, we've had about a 20% increase from where they were pre-lockdown. So that's an interesting one as well. So I think people were sat at home.
So that's an actual, is that a change in behaviour, or actually just that there's just more in general inquiries?
Yeah, I think a combination of both, to be honest. But people were obviously furloughed from their jobs, and they were sat at home, and, you know, what have they got to do? They browse the internet, they start looking at things, and I think live chat gave them the option then of just having general conversations with agents, etc., just to test the market, really see what was happening, see what their options were. So I think it's a combination of both with that.
Well, you've got a big fan already. I mean, we've got one on as well, but Simon Paget, we use Moneypenny and their staff are fantastic.
Oh, thanks.
You know what? I mean, it sounds like the wrong sort of challenge, but I've never heard anyone who says other than that. I don't know who your training gurus are, but they must be like Yoda-like in their ability.
They're amazing. But it's about the people at the end of the day. We recruit on attitude, a can-do attitude. You can teach people to use systems, but it's that personality, it's that willingness to do things, you know, going that extra mile. That's what our people are all about. But our training team are amazing. Who would have thought that we'd be recruiting? I think it's up until the end of August, about 50 new people as well. What an amazing opportunity that is for us as a business to be bringing some new faces into the world of Moneypenny as well. So yeah,
you're going to need another building, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh, there was an email about that the other day. Something.
I wouldn't put it past him, Simon. I'm sure that's in the plans anyway. But I went up and Joanne invited me up to go and see operations there, and it's a stunning building, and the big building that they kind of had space to grow anyway. They'd always kind of prepared themselves for that opportunity, and the training setup, the classroom that they got there, and I was, you know, lucky enough to just kind of watch and observe from the outside. It's just fantastic. You can tell why the staff are also engaged, the culture's so good, because the place just makes you feel good going to work. It really does, and it does come through in obviously the service they provide. And as Simon said, they are fantastic, from whether it's live chat or phone service. You get the same. It's consistent, and that for me as a business owner is something that we obviously wanted to make sure that we got. We can't deal with all the phone calls. We're not in 24/7, whereas Moneypenny are. So that's great for us.
And I think that what Joe was saying there as well, you know, in terms of, well, we put the staff first, and, you know, we train on attitude. I'm not being funny, but these are all platitudes that we hear from so many businesses, aren't they? And the thing about that Moneypenny, that, as you said, Matt, that is these are one of the few companies that really delivers on that. And as you said, you know, quite often they will have all of the quotes out their staff coming first, and then, you know, you could conceivably see somebody who didn't believe in the way that they'd just have the, you know, kind of the battery hen approach, isn't it? Fill them all into an office, and you can hear everyone in the background buzzing away. And as you said, everyone who has had, and in fact, Gary Hardy's just jumped up here and just said, I had the fortune of visiting Moneypenny and sitting with them while calls were being handled. Outstanding, incredible office, and people never felt more welcome, especially in Wales. I don't know if you got a bit racist at the end of that, but I'm gonna
we'll let you off on that one.
The England Wales banter will continue no matter what.
Only where rugby is concerned.
Yes, of course. Yes, exactly.
Sorry, Matt.
So, can you give us some examples, Joe, of where Moneypenny has had to sort of pivot to adapt to this new climate? We spoke about obviously how you've had to migrate your staff, but is there any other ways that you've had to change what you do?
Yeah, there's. I mean, through the whole of this, we've kept doing what we're good at. So we've helped our clients with their own fluctuating volumes. So especially more recently, when the market reopened, demand, it definitely surged, as we've already said. Lots of agents still had their staff on furlough. So we saw an increase of about 42% in calls as a result of that. And then just the same kind of figure, really, that 42% of those calls coming in were resulting in an inquiry. So what we had to do then is look at what we could bring to the market. So we realized early on that agents would benefit from a wider support from us. So we revamped the final development of training, which we needed to bring some new services to the market. So that's one thing that we did. We held lots of focus groups. So Matt was actually part of our focus group as well, to find out what agents' needs were. So we've always known that agents would say we were great at answering calls, we're great at live chat, but wouldn't it be great if you could do other things? So that's what we've been working on for a long time. But I think COVID-19 lockdown definitely spearheaded that, and we fast-tracked a lot of things. So we've got a new product that Matt was beta tester for, which is our... I have to remember the name of it. It's a self-screening bot. It's nothing to do with being healthy. It's a self-screening bot. So yeah, thanks to Matt, we've brought this product to market now, which is great. So Matt can actually let you know what it does and how it does it.
So where did the formative idea for this come from then? Was it you obviously thought of this in-house, and then you sort of tested it in those roundtables with the agents? Is that right?
We had the focus groups with agents just to get an idea of where they could see Moneypenny fulfilling other things other than answering calls and chats. We'd already been looking at a bot option pre-COVID, but that was more about dealing with live chat, focused on triaging chats and lead capture. But then we realized that bringing this forward even quicker would then help agents in the here and now. COVID-19 was something that needed to be addressed when they were going back into office, and this is one thing that we, as I say, we fast tracked through, and thankfully Matt was the person that came on board and fed back to us and went out and started using it.
Okay, so talk us through what it does then.
So in essence, we as a business coming back into being able to show people around properties, we wanted to do a health assessment for each of our clients that were due to view with us. And our clunky process, we talked in PropTech 3.0 the other day about the efficiencies that you need from PropTech, and this is where Moneypenny really kind of came into their own. But our clunky process was we were sending a Adobe Echo Sign document for them to complete the thing and send it back to us. That is extra faff for staff who have already got loads of phone calls coming in, trying to book valuations and deliver a good service. So Sarah, Joanne, and the rest of the team at Moneypenny, they really focused on getting this chatbot onto our website in a quick timescale, so that now we could confirm that the client, from our point of view, is okay to view the property. We send them a link. They then had to go on via the link, put their name and email address in, complete the questions, and then we get on email back. It's saved about 10 minutes for every single view we were booking. And, we reported in previous kerfuffles the number of viewings that we've done. We have reduced our number of viewings, but if we had 10 minutes wasted on everyone we were trying to do an Adobe with, not to mention the number of times you have to chase it because they haven't known how to work it out and all that kind of stuff. So this bot sits on our website now. we just send them a link to it. It pops up on the side anyway. They complete their details, answer 4 questions. If it comes back with an answer that isn't sufficient, then it flags it for us to be able to contact them and go through it. So if they have had COVID-19, then we obviously need to contact them and find out exactly when that was and those bits and pieces. But it just solves the whole problem to screen someone rather than us having to send a load of forms. And the staff love it. It's just made that process so much easier. And I talked about trying not to bring too much tech in at once, but the tech that we brought to the table has been to make life easier, and they appreciate it. Staff appreciate when you're trying to make their job a little bit easier, because it has been busy. Obviously, we know it's been a bonkers market. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not just about making things easier, is it? Coming back first and foremost, it's about looking after your staff as well, isn't it? And that, again, one of these often overused things, health over wealth. Well, you can say that, but if you're not doing anything about it, it's kind of a wasted comment. So I think it's really interesting, and we'll come on to. I'm sure that's been very well received. Has there been any pushback against it at all? Is there anyone that's sort of, I'm not talking about the kind of what's going on in America with people trying to take people's masks off, but has anyone found it intrusive or anything like that?
No, I think from a consumer point of view, they've appreciated that it's the way that we work. And I know some agents do it differently, and some we know aren't taking PPE out, and some aren't even asking the questions. And that's their thing, not ours. At least we can kind of look at our staff honestly in the eye and say we're doing everything we can to make sure you're safe. And that clunky process with the PDF, for anyone that was using that before, they hated that. They really did. And there was nothing we could do about it. That was just the quickest way that we thought we could fix things. And it was brilliant that Moneypenny said, look, okay, we've got it. It's now ready. Tell us your questions you're asking. We'll add them in. We had a real kind of good dialogue on the chat functionality, make sure it was similar to the way that we talk to people. And within a heartbeat, it was rolled in. And the staff like it. Consumers prefer it. They can do it on a mobile device. They can do it on a desktop. It's fit for the purpose. It really does. It meets the need. So it's been good for us. And like I said, some agents out there don't do any of these questions, and I'd rather at least offer it, but not make it too hard for anyone to use. That's the important bit.
Mm-hmm.
Was it easy to set up then? Is the process to go live with it okay?
Yeah, from our point of view, we worked with 22 Group for our website, and they got the script from Moneypenny, and they had it added in within, I think, probably 24 hours. We then checked it a couple of times first before sending the link out to the staff, and then we got it built into our repit. So when we send a text message to confirm a viewing, the link goes straight onto it, and it's done and dusted. It emails out to the branch email addresses, so everyone in their own branch can see everyone that's done a reply, not just specifically a single negotiator's getting responses. You can work as an office to get that information back in. So from a web team point of view, they brought it in pretty quickly for us, and it was just a script, I think.
Yeah,
Excellent.
it's a piece of coding that's really easy just to add on to the website.
How long from your side then, Joanne, does it take to get somebody up and live?
With the screening bot, 24 hours, as Matt said. It's really simple. It's just a case of putting together the questions that you want us to ask. We have suggestions, but you can come up with your own. I think, Matt, you came up with your own for it as well, didn't you? I think so.
Yeah, they weren't
really
too far away, but yeah,
from
what we
suggested
originally, but it was the same ones that we've been giving out in the PDF. So we just kind of copied and pasted it across, and with the same answers we were expecting to get, or the same questions. So.
And I think what's really important about this all is just to understand again where we all are. It's great that we're all, coming out of lockdown and everything else and releasing, but it's going to be a slow process. If anyone's been into London or any, these, just because the doors are ostensibly open, it's going to take a long time for that sense of normality. And I think there is a huge, large percentage of the public that still are very, very nervous, understandably, from this, aren't they? So I'm guessing, especially with that demographic, the comments back must have been very favourable, haven't they, Matt?
Yeah, we're doing it for our vendors as well. So people booking a market approach, I would say applicants have got a purpose that they want to view with you because they want to buy or sell or rent something from you. But the potential vendors of ours, the valuations we were going out to, they then do the health assessment as well, and they liked that we were taking that kind of care, because I guess if they're going to instruct us and we're going to do viewings on their property, which is obviously what they're after, they want to know that we're doing it safely. And it just demonstrates that point that we are a careful and considered agent. Obviously, great that we've got good technology to make it quicker, but we're actually making sure that their property is going to be safe as well. I think Joe was saying that there was loads of people obviously doing lots of live chats. We really, during that time, during lockdown, because we had so many staff working, really focused on driving to our own website. So the fact that you've got engagement then from Moneypenny live chat team kind of popping up with questions, and it's, you're not speaking to a bot then, you're actually speaking to a human being. I can imagine there was great engagement there. And again, it kind of strengthened the brand. Whilst other agents around us had closed the doors and had one person doing all the calls, we had this massive team and actually an extended team as well that was still able to help people. So hopefully it puts in a good position now to be, strong coming out of it all, and probably won a few instructions off the back of it.
Well, that's the name of the game at the end of it, isn't it? As well as doing everything else, that's fantastic that you can deliver. So, I mean, you felt quite comfortable then, Matt, making this decision that obviously that Moneypenny are really a partner to the business, aren't they? Otherwise, you wouldn't feel comfortable putting such important stuff. Was that true from you at the beginning? Was outsourcing always an option for you, or did it take time to feel comfortable with that? And I'm guessing now you wouldn't have any problem in saying to other people, would you, that this is something they should consider?
Yes, it's definitely one of our best decisions we made. We have used previously other call answering services and also other live chat services. I won't name names, but we have used others before. Some were we had issues with, and I think that Moneypenny for me was tried and tested. Whilst it might cost a little bit more than others, it was worth that investment. And how robust, the point when we go into lockdown, we had no service change between that point from them working from home and us having to work from home. It was continuous, it was seamless. I'd say without a doubt that they are definitely part of our team. So we're even at the point when we do a change now in the company, we send it to them as well. So we send it to our PA. She's not my PA because I've had four, but we have our team PA. And when we send it over, straight away, all of the squad, whoever's dealing with a live chat or a call, will have that link. So if we've done a new video on stamp duty, which we're going to release this afternoon, we'll send it over to the guys there. So once the engagement starts with live chat, they'll flick that link into a live chat and send it to our website where they can then see. And that's, I wouldn't even get that from some of my staff downstairs, if I'm honest with you. They're brilliant, but they can be distracted by the stuff. So it's a massive extension of our team. We love them to bits. It's been brilliant.
Yeah, and what I mean with that, obviously you don't have to mention names, but what was it about those other kind of the chat service that wasn't working for you? Because to a lot of people will see chat as just being chat. Are there nuances with the different chat providers?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. I think so. There's the version where it's kind of is essentially a bot, and obviously health screening bot is perfect for that purpose. But if you're trying to ask some questions about a property, you expect someone to be able to find it for you. You're going to ask some random questions. And I think the UK based part is a big part as well. So they know our website. They've actually got their own kind of script on how to deal with our clients, how to talk to them, use our tone. And some people at 10 o'clock at night, they think they're still dealing with me as the MD. They do feel like they're speaking to someone within the business. The call answering piece, we used a local company, local to us, because support local, and we thought that would be the best way to do it. But they weren't anything other than taking voicemails for us and like taking messages and sending them over. So at least with Moneypenny, you feel that they're actually trying to help the client to the end point. Obviously, it might be that we have to contact them back, but they've given that client the experience like they're dealing with us or someone within Nickel & Co. But I think the UK based is probably one of their biggest wins, really. I think it's that facility that the client and I love the tone, because they keep refreshed on it. So when I did the visit up to Wrexham, we talked about how we talk to people, and I sat in and watched, like Simon was saying, it's nice to kind of watch the live chats or watch the conversations go on. It's really quite exciting, actually. I bet it's a right good for Tracy and her team in the live chats.
I know.
Because I know what results we're after. Is that the cat just poking up then?
It is, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, good grief.
You've been trapped by your earlier slogan, haven't you, Joanne, over the years, which was we answer calls, that's all we do, because it always massively, underplayed just how much you get involved. This was even before the product lines, as Matt said, understanding tone, understanding a little bit more about the business. Hello, what we should find out. What's his name?
This is Caesar.
Caesar, good grand name.
Yeah. Matt knows the story of
I
why.
know the story. I know the story.
Makes me sound like a really strange lady, but hey ho. Yeah, I'm so sorry, everybody.
So yeah, I mean, but it is true, isn't it? You really get, as you broaden these obviously services, and I suppose over time you just get to know the team so much better, don't you, and how they work. Does that present problems with consistency, or does it is that just factored into what you do?
I mean, we give you your own receptionist on our property team, so that's that continuity. So Alex, the adorable Alex, is Matt's receptionist at Moneypenny. So anything call answering wise, any updates, new member of the team at Nickel & Co, anything that's going on is always updated with Alex, but Alex will keep the rest of her team involved in it. So everybody knows the exact same information. And the same with
Caesar again. It's the cat. Literally, the minute you put the cat down, or
they are envious. They are envious creatures, aren't they? But it's, what I should have said, of course, is while she's trying to struggle with the wire to get back in, is at the very beginning I should have said I'm biased, because of course I am a client of theirs as well. And like you said, Matt, there are other providers out there, but you soon come back to that sort of you get what you pay for methodology, don't you?
Yeah. I'd heard about them before, but I was recommended by Kevin Ellis from the Land and New Homes Network. And when I saw it working for him, when I tried to get hold of him and I was getting past this, and you actually feel like you're speaking to someone who's in his office, it was that experience that really kind of tipped it for me. So yeah, I can see why you'd be a client. And I know obviously estate agents are clients, but there's a lot of other services that they provide to different industries as well, I know. So sorry, Joanne.
Sorry, I'm back now. Apologies.
What level of banter is there? This is so off script, it's untrue. What level of banter is there between the estate agency teams and like the conveyancing teams? Are they all very different people, or do you when you talk on attitudes?
No, they are actually. And when we recruit someone and they go through the initial training, we're always mindful of what type of person they are, because it's a completely different person to take a property call than it is someone, for example, in healthcare or legal, etc. So we're always thinking about where they would fit, the personalities would fit. So we're pretty good at judging. Of course, we'll ask our receptionists where they see themselves, but it's inevitably, if it's someone that's coming from the property world, because as you both know, we do have ex-negotiators on our team, which is amazing, ex-landlords, current landlords, so they bring a wealth of experience with them. So it makes sense to sit those within property. But yeah, you're right, we have to think about personalities and where they fit best within the company.
And if I was a betting man, what we haven't spoke about is the elephant in the room is that you do actually have a pub bar. I'm guessing the property teams are normally the ones that are first in there compared to the legals.
The sales team actually are probably first, closely followed by property. Yeah, definitely.
It's good to see some stereotypes still fit there. So what we got here.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Welcoming visitors again. Lucy's just saying yes in terms of, and actually I should say this, like Matt said, it's such an eye opener to be able to go to your offices. I think I'm not talking out of turn here. You do welcome people asking to come round, and being able to do so, because to get that feel, first of all, it makes you want to do business with yourselves. But I'm sure Matt, you like me, would have been going round with a pen trying to crib the great ideas, just of little things that you do that just resonate with the staff.
Definitely. When I first met Joanna Swash and she told me about Workplace, which I'd never heard of before, I think I was sat in the same restaurant as you, Simon, but you were over the other side making all the noise. And it was the Property Academy events. And she told me about Workplace, and I was in awe of how engaged. And she showed me just some of the kind of the chats and conversations that go on Workplace, and it's just, you can tell when you walk into the place. And I actually went when COVID-19 was beginning to be a problem, so we couldn't shake hands, couldn't say hello to each other.
Yeah.
And it's just a stunning place. It's just absolutely fantastic. The place feels like there's an energy the minute you walk through. As a guest, as a client, you feel like, nothing's too much trouble. And everyone around the place looks happy, and that's that can be hard, especially when you've got long days ahead of you. And you got, it's a brilliant place. It is. It's just such a fab place. And I think it was you actually that messaged me saying, make sure you sit on the gorilla's hand. That was the other thing that I.
This is one of those moments where context is really important.
Yes.
For everyone that doesn't know, there is a massive gorilla that welcomes you outside at the offices. That is obviously the mandatory photo you have to get.
I think we did take some, didn't we, Matt?
We
I'm
did
sure
indeed.
we did, of the gorilla. Yeah.
Excellent.
Simon, I seem to recall there's a couple of you lay across the bar in the Dog and Bone as well.
There is, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm sure. As we said, we know all that. So, guys, what are your predictions then for kind of the industry and where it's going at the moment?
Yeah, well, we think that, we know that the property sector is already pro-technology. We find that most agents are early adapters to when it comes to harnessing, the technology and process to want to make things more efficient and deliver a better service. As I mentioned earlier, we've definitely seen that with an uptake of the live chat service. We think that this trend is going to continue, and prop tech will be widely used by other agents that may be a little bit behind the curve. And then we also, with regards to the outsourcing, I do think a lot more agents will look at ourselves and other outsourcing companies to, give them the freedom then to focus on what they do best in agency.
Yeah,
I think there's a real risk at the moment. Obviously, we had pent-up demand, which has been great for us kind of coming out of the lockdown period. You now have the stamp duty change and Rishi Sunak coming in with that. There's probably an opportunity that if you're not geared up to take an extra amount of phone calls or have the extra kind of content going through your website, that you could miss a few opportunities right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Moneypenny as our extension to our team, and it's then infinite really. It continues because call overflows more than 3 rings, it can go to them. If you're an agent that has an answer machine, you could have missed that call, not got back to it in time. They could have phoned your competitor, and actually then they're now going to start doing a evaluation with them. So we don't know if it's going to be from now till April going to be bonkers, and then stamp duty is going to change back again. But for the next 9 months, it could be a real kind of strong time to grow your business. And if that starts with outsource before you employ, then that could be something. You could have facilities or the opportunity. We are a large team for the patch that we cover, but even with that amount of staff, we need more. So it's that ongoing headache. Do you employ someone that's going to cost you 25, 35 grand, or do you outsource first, see if there's enough demand, take it and leave it when you need it, it's there, and make decisions based on that? It's probably going to be the stronger route to take your business further forward.
Well, that's the thing with using Moneypenny, it's scalable, so you can rely. Agents will rely on us differently throughout the day, out of hours calls, etc. So, as agents will start look to bring staff back from furlough, then I would anticipate that our call volumes will reduce. But if we are going to see, hopefully we're not, but another spike, then that's going to continue that process. People may have to stay on furlough for longer, and you still need those calls to be picked up because you can't afford to miss those opportunities. And Matt, as you said about having a voicemail, we know that it's about 69% of people that go to voicemail won't even leave a message. So that's a complete lost opportunity for you. Everyone is just a Google search away now, aren't they, from losing a valuation inquiry, a landlord inquiry, and that's where we step in.
That lack of patience is incredible, isn't it? There, people literally And by the way, and I always include myself in this because I know what an absolute bastard I am in terms of. But you literally can't be bothered even waiting for the voicemail, can you anymore? It's just like, which is, sometimes people don't practice what they preach. You get really frustrated with the other side, and they're not there. And as you said, it's the easiest thing in the world now just to Google and bounce elsewhere.
Yeah.
You used to do statistics, I remember, which is just the eye opener for me. Why you have to be using a service, obviously, preferably your good selves, but whereby what percentage of those missed calls were about valuations, appointments and things like that, and that's just. Yeah. How can you tolerate having any missed calls when I don't know what the percentage was, but when a good percentage of those are there? Because if you think that they are definitely coming back to you, you are sorely mistaken, aren't you?
Yeah, well, 42% of the calls that we take during the lockdown period were new inquiries. So that's a massive amount of opportunities that you could be missing, and it's also about the customer service side as well, though, Simon, because you had those people that wanted to know what's happening, what's going to happen with my property now that you can't come out, you can't come and do viewings, etc. So it's reassurance as well. And if this continues again, not continues, but if this comes across again, then it's going to be even more important to have someone there picking up those calls and giving that reassurance that it's been dealt with. And it's all about just having a lovely, friendly, engaging conversation with the caller, extracting the right information, and then passing it on to the agents to go and do their thing.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, Matt's been on the show so often this week that he's actually already heard all my material that normally I get away with repeating myself. But it is true to say, isn't it, is that actually, Matt, you're well known for being one of those agents that really, really quickly rolled up your sleeves, said, I'm not going down without a fight, and quite quickly saw the opportunity in this. And I'm talking about obviously just a business opportunity, because I think you realise that actually many, many agents were going to just completely take their eye off the ball. We spoke about on the previous 2 shows as well about how, downturns, whether they're recessions or in this with the pandemic, leads to large changes often in market share. And it is because, unfortunately, that customer experience is still way up here, even though it's so difficult to deliver for many businesses. So if you can, aspire to reach those expectation levels, you are going to be well noticed by your local marketplace, aren't you?
Definitely. Yeah, it gives you a huge chance to stand out in your patch, and that's something that we really focused on. It's been hard work, and much like Moneypenny have brought things forward quicker than they ever wanted to before because everyone pulled together to do it. We've had to do the same. You've had to deliver to a customer that still wants you more than ever. And actually, the stats are out to say that 24%, I think it is, of people that weren't thinking of moving are now thinking of moving. That's even more that we weren't ready to deal with. So it was good to be able to have support from people like Moneypenny to know that there was a bit of light at the end of the tunnel for the stressful bit that the staff were getting a bit fed up. Because the clunky process, we never wanted that, but we were focused on making sure they were safe. So whether they liked it or not, they were going to have to use those PDFs and get them signed and get them back in, because we wouldn't let them do a viewing without it. It was just nice to be able to say, and here is the knight in shining armor. This is now the result. We can get it done quicker. It's been a long 11 weeks, whatever it is, isn't it? It's been a real kind of stretch for everyone to make sure that they did the very best they could. And now it's nice that we can kind of reflect and look back at our performance and see our statistics, compare them to this time last year, and know that actually we have taken market share as opposed to just be vanilla and do what we've normally done. I'd say not vanilla, but like just do our normal kind of market share. We've been able to grow it. So it's been good. It's been strong.
Yeah, and I think we hopefully, as we said, it's great that we've all bounced back and there has been a market. But with, as you said, Richie Sunak's promise on the stamp duty, that does seem to show that we will have a sustained, this will be a sustained recovery, touch wood and all that there. So what I really like about it is, and I speak about it all the time, Joanne, and when we're face to face, I said, you're such a nice organisation that one day I want to find out what the dark secrets actually are. And I think I've sussed it out is because because you always say, look, by all means, just use this as an overflow capacity there. And when you're ready to obviously employ your own staff, yeah, we're quite happy with that. But I know what it is because you do such a good job in impressing people, of course. There's a pretty good chance, aren't you, that they're not going to go for that approach. And why would you? I mean, if it's no risk, the risk is not either. And I understand why, if you're in Matt's position and maybe you didn't have the same view on outsourcing, then it's a much more difficult decision to take on that extra wage where maybe, it is variable. It's not going to be 100% utilized. Mm-hmm. So you say, oh, we can, we'll let the existing staff suffer for a bit longer. But you're missing those opportunities, and that opportunity cost can't very easily be calculated, but is very meaningful, isn't it?
It is, definitely. And you're right. We do always say the best people to answer your calls and your chats are you and your team. But there are occasions where you can't. And that's where Moneypenny step in. We know that people have used us differently over COVID-19. So, we have our call volumes have gone up because of that, not just because of the market, because agents are using us differently. And we've had a lot of new business from it as well. People have needed to turn to outsourcing. But we want those relationships to continue, and we want people to be with us for the long haul past COVID, when it's all done and dusted. One day, hopefully, we'll get to that point. But we still want those clients. We still want to work with them. We want to be there to assist them and make sure they're not missing those opportunities. So even coming on board, it could be, you're utilising us now when we're answering 500 calls a month or more for you. But who knows, in a few months' time, it could be that you just need us for those calls. It might reduce to 100 calls a month. It doesn't matter. It's making sure that we're there to assist you. And also, with the launch of our new client services, which is outbound calling, we'll be looking at dealing with portal leads. So there's a whole new range of products bringing to market. And again, thanks to the likes of Matt and other agents that held those focus groups, we're going to be taking some of that noise away from agents, again, so they can concentrate and do things that they need to do. And
that's a big thing, isn't it? And I mean, I think I've no doubt that, in those focus groups, that will have been one of the most asked questions. Why can you please help us out with that side of things? So that change to be able to really give that whole, because I think you already did it. You can tell me you have to kill me, but you already did it for You Move, didn't you? I think before that was where it was tested. I can see you show that. But it is important, isn't it, there? Because actually, as we were talking about the shows yesterday, I think it was Damon saying, he was talking about that, agents want to deal with less companies, so that will inevitably mean them doing more services. And that's what you're responding to, isn't it?
It is, definitely. And one of the first parts of the client services that we've already launched is the outbound calling. So, that could be a whole host of different things, but agents giving us their data, we'll go and have those Moneypenny conversations and hopefully find some nuggets of gold out there, whether that's be from past vendors. We'll also, I know one thing that agents were really keen for us to do was viewing feedback as well. So it's those conversations that we're having, and then feeding back again to the agents, the hot stuff. From a letting side, portal leads, they come in. We know that agents can't get to them as quickly as they would like to, so we're going to be helping with that side of things as well. On a letting side, you may put a property to the market today, you may get 200 inquiries for that one property, which is probably already going to be rented this time tomorrow. And there's only a small percentage of those inquiries that you can actually deal with that fit the criteria. So by having Moneypenny pick up those leads early on, again, we can cleanse them and feed back the ones that you can work with. So it's really exciting times at Moneypenny about bringing these new services to the market and taking away the noise from agents so they can concentrate on what they do best.
Yeah, nice, lovely service. Well, okay. Could you just give us an overview? You've been really, really kind, and you're going to present to Kerfuffle members a special deal, I think, around the bot. Do you want to just give us an overview of what you're offering there?
Yeah, so if anyone's interested in the self-screening bot, we're offering a free month on that one. And then we're also offering a free 2-week trial of live chat and telephone answering. Just to go back to the live chat thing from our conversation earlier, just to remember that our service offering is different insofar as we have the same opportunity. So if Matt wanted, he could have his team set up to take chats. And I know that's always a good thing for an agent. It's important to allow them the opportunity to pick up the chats as well as the calls. And again, Moneypenny will be there as an overflow support. So it's not all about completely outsourcing. It's again on an overflow option with live chat as well. So that's something just to remember. It is different.
Free setup, free transfers, free transcriptions, no catches and no commitment.
No catches, no setup fees whatsoever. All it takes is a quick phone call.
No catches and no commitment is what I always use in my personal life, so stop stealing it.
Okay, I'll let the marketing team know that one. That's already taken.
It's all right. We've stolen every idea that's ever been out there. And look, we're getting the live feedback from a testimonial, obviously on there. But you know, 5-star reviews all over your landing page on Kerfuffle. Zoe Bywater from Belvoir, customer service is excellent. The eponymous Simon Bradbury from Thomas Morris. What can I tell you about Moneypenny? 3 things. Cool name. That's so Bradbury, by the way. Cool headquarters. Great people. Key things. Scary that some agent in Wales will be dealing with your customers. Can they do this as good as your staff? Overwhelmingly so. They really care. The relationship you build with Moneypenny is definitely a key thing. This will absolutely make the partnership work. Not always the cheapest, but you pay for the service and a company that represents you well. And I happen to know what's really impressive about that is he'd had too many glasses of wine when he left that video review. So to be that eloquent after that many units is no mean task.
No.
So look, guys, thank you very much. Thanks for thinking of us this time. No doubt, Matt, I'll be seeing you on the show this afternoon.
Yeah,
that's it now. I don't think I get any more links.
As I say, I feel as though I'm amongst the professionals here, you know, the seasoned webinar people with you both. So thank you.
First time I've ever been called professional, but that's a nice thing. And I'll pass on our regards to Caesar. And
oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Great. I encourage everybody, have a look at the landing page. We'll have this uploaded there as well for anyone to view later on. Once more, thank you very much, Joanne and Matt, and catch up with you both soon.
Take care. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.